I'm Karen Johnson. Today I'm going to demonstrate one of my very favorite tools called Perfect Circles, designed by Karen Kay Buckley. These are little mylar, very thin, perfect round circle templates that you can make applique circles with. I'll show you the technique in a moment, but first this comes in two different sizes. The package of smaller pieces come in 15 different sizes, and each size you get 4 different pieces of that for a total of 60 circles. And the bigger perfect circles comes in 10 different sizes, and you get 2 circles each of those sizes for a total of 20 circles. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a can of spray starch. I'm sorry, this is not starch, this is sizing. It's a common mistake, and I often refer to this as the starch method. But starch leaves a white residue when you use heat, and the sizing does not. So I grabbed Niagara. I know that Karen Kay Buckley prefers magic sizing. It's whatever you have available at your grocery store. Then a couple of templates, whichever size you want. This is going to be a finished one. You can see that it's very flexible. There's no template left in it, and it's a perfect circle. And you're going to cut your fabric in a circle, whatever size seam allowance you prefer. I like to have between an 1/8 and a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around my circle. You might want a little bit larger. Depends on what you're looking for in your finished piece. Then you need to take a running basting stitch. I do this by hand, and baste all the way around the edge, as close to the edge as you can without letting it fray, and let the thread hang out on one side when you've gone all the way around. Since I'm doing this one-handed, I've already pulled this taut so that I can hold the camera. But anyway, you just pull it tight, and then you're ready for the next step. I'm going to try to do this one-handed just so that you can see how easy it pulls. And again, I need 2 hands to be able to get that last little bit around there, but you can get the idea. Next, you're just going to spray some of the sizing into the lid. And with any kind of brush, stencil brush is handy. I just happen to have a Artist Club brush handy. You're going to just paint all around the seam allowance, right up to the very edge on your circle, and get it pretty good and wet all the way around. Now, I've pulled this as tight as I can. I'm holding the thread taut so that it's perfect all the way around. I've already applied the sizing all the way around, and now I'm going to press. I'm using a dry iron, no steam, in a medium heat, and I've just got the edge sticking out there so that you can see that I'm still holding that thread tight, but I can actually move that iron, if I had an extra hand, to cover the entire yo-yo, or the entire template. So I repeated the process for the other one so that you can see that when you use the smaller seam allowance, you need to make sure that when you pull that basting all the way around it, that you do it evenly so you don't end up with more on one side than the other. And now I just need to wait till they dry a bit. Notice I kept the thread hanging, and I want this template to cool enough, because once the template's cooled, then the fabric is cooled, and then you're ready to pull the template out. Okay, this is cooled enough now, and I'm just going to loosen it a little bit. So all I'm doing is loosening the basting so that I can just pop that right out. Sorry, I still have one hand on the camera. Pops out very easily. And then give that thread another tug. I'm going to set the camera, get down and do it again and show you. So I gave that thread just another little tug. That's why it's important to keep that thread in there, and it's back to being perfect. And I like to give it one more spritz with the iron so that you've got a nice perfect circle. There it is. Now you can hand or machine applique that down either way you like. And I did it with the other one so that you can see that all it took was just a tiny little tug on that thread to get it back into perfect shape. And that's because I waited until the sizing was completely dry and the template was cool before I tried to do that. If you try to do it while it's still wet, you will end up with a misshapen circle. But you can get on an assembly line with these because you get enough of each size. You can be doing 4 at a time. While one's drying, you can be spritzing the next one. And you can just sit and make circle after circle after circle. I recently made a twin-size quilt that had, I don't know, 70 or 80 circles, and I didn't even hesitate to take on the project because I knew I could do it with these. It's a very cool product, and it's one of my favorite.